Hello, all of you sexy people out there watching this beautiful video. This is a Heroic Shado-Pan Monastery guide for beginners, advanced players, all those people. This is the first boss, Glue Cloudstrike. Before I start off, I just want to say that this instance is the Grim Batol of Mop. It is the worst dungeon I've ever done in this expansion. I hate it. Anyway, so this first boss has 3 phases. It's pretty easy, and just so you know, another side point is I do the most basic walkthroughs ever, so you know what to do. I don't tell you all these names and all this shit you don't have to know. I just tell you what to do, look out for, and you know what to do. You're good. So basically, you see that electrical thing right there? Yeah, that's a don't stand in that because that'll kill you. He spawns a lot of those during the first phase, and you want to make sure you're not standing in that because that does a lot of nature damage and it pones your face. Another thing you want to do or look out for, let me just open up the World of Warcraft here real quick. It's a pretty easy fight. Oh, he also does something called Invoke Lightning, which is he'll basically throw a lightning rod at someone and it'll do damage to them in addition to anyone within 5 yards of the target that gets hit, so make sure maybe not, just stay spread out. In phase 2 at 50%, he becomes immune and this dragon becomes targetable and attackable. The dragon is pretty simple, just don't stand in front of it for that breath you just saw and it'll be fine. Just try to stack up near the side because he'll do something called, oh, what's that called? It is called Magnetic Shroud. What that Magnetic Shroud does is, it's put on every person and it absorbs 500,000 healing. And once that 500,000 healing has been absorbed, the magic shroud will go away from you, but it'll also heal 500,000 divided by 5 people, or divided by how many people are stacked within that magnetic shroud. So if you're stacked up, everyone gets healed for a lot of health, and it just helps your healers out. So basically, magnetic shroud gets put on everyone, and you can't heal them until you've healed 50,000, 50k. And then once you do that, and if you're stacked up, it'll explode and it'll heal you, so it's nice. But you kill this dragon, and you go back to fighting Goo Cloudstrike. Goo, that's a cool name. Goo. And basically, it's an easier fight than before. All he does is he does a little bit more damage now, and the lower in health he gets, I believe, the more frequently he does like a lightning strike to everyone. So this phase is kind of healing intensive, but not really, since his entire fight is really easy. His healers, make sure you're looking out for that, and if you're brand new to healing, this will probably be a little bit of a test for you. But that has been Glue Cloudstrike. Not Glue. Goo Cloudstrike, the first boss in Shado-Pan Monastery. Next boss, let's go! The next boss you fight is Master Snowdrift, another amazing name. This fight is also pretty simple. In the first stage, make sure he does something called Fists of Fury, and if you're standing in front of him for that, you're going to get your face pounded. Basically, when he does that, just don't be in front of him tank. DPS should never be in front of him anyway, but if you are, by chance, in front of him, make sure you're not in that. What he's doing right now, it's called Tornado Kick. That's another AoE. Well, it's AoE that he does, and you don't want to be in that because that does, again, a lot of damage. Also, a side note for Fists of Fury, when he does that, he'll do it in front of him no matter what, and so if you move out of the way, he will not chase you with it, so just make sure you're not in front of him when he does that. Tornado Kick, I just mentioned, get out of that. I believe it's 50%, his next stage will start, yep, and this is where what he's gonna do, he's gonna spawn in the corners of the room 2 clones that have literally, they die so easily. As you see, they just went down so quickly. And the third person is Master Snowdrift, and you can just continue killing him. And I just see he's shooting out a blue ball of fire, and I believe that's the actual spell term too. He just don't get hit by that. I believe it's always in the exact same spot he shoots. He shoots it to the corners where the clones were. So, and it's not always in the same spot that he's gonna spawn, obviously, as you see. But just don't stand in that ball of fire, and you'll be good. If you do get hit by it, it's not going to do that much damage, but just don't stand in that anyway. And then you do this for a little bit. I forget what percent he goes into the third stage, but in the third stage, it's pretty simple. All he does is he just chases down a random person, and he slams them. It's called Tornado Slam. Apparently you can dodge this, but I've never been able to. He's doing it right now, I believe. So he chases someone, and then he just slams them, and I believe it's for 30% of their total damage and physical damage. So it'll take you down to like 70% in physical damage. So that's it. Master Snowdrift, another very simple boss. One of the more interesting bosses, in my opinion, of this instance. This boss and the last boss are actually my favorite out of this instance, which is nice. So next boss, let's go. I'm really going to try to stop saying let's go at the end of all the bosses on this video, but the next boss is Sha of Violence. It's honestly almost basically a tank and spank fight. All you have to know is that he does something called Smoke Blaze, and it's very noticeable that he does it, or it does it, because it's just a black circle all around it, that cloud of smoke, and I'm going to point it out when he does it. But when he does that, what happens is that he puts a debuff. That right there is Smoke Blades, finally. But he puts a debuff on you, which decreases your critical strike chance by 100%, and the debuff lasts 30 seconds. But every attack or spell you cast when you get that debuff, it decreases the time on that debuff by, I don't even know how many seconds. I think it's like 3 to 10 seconds, something like that. And once you perform X amount of spells or damage, that debuff's gone. So you can have that debuff for literally like 2 seconds if you do enough stuff. It's not that big of a deal in this fight. It doesn't do much at all. Pretty simple. So you don't have to worry about that. That Smoke Blades also does a little bit of damage. I think it's 25% weapon damage for the boss every 1 second. It takes me down like 70% or something like that, as you'll see. Whatever it takes me down here, it's not very bad, not very intense. But that's it. He also spawns ads, as you're seeing. Those aren't deadly. They don't do that much damage. If you have an AoE to spare, go ahead and kill them. If they're on your healer, you might want to take them off, or even if they're on a caster, so their spells aren't being pushed back. And one other thing I have to mention is that he does something called Sha Spike. I don't know if I'm saying Sha right. I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but Sha Spike, and basically he'll just throw a random spike out. He just did it to the left of my screen to the left a couple seconds ago. He'll basically just throw out a spike and it'll pop up on a random player and just do some damage. So healers, there is a bit of damage going out, so make sure you're paying attention. And yeah, so I honestly didn't know this was a boss. I thought this was like a mini boss that would drop an extra amount of loot or an extra amount of gold, but this is actually a boss in the dungeon. So cool. That has been Sha of Violence. The final boss of the instance is called Taran Zhu, and this is a pretty fun fight, I think. As you'll see, there's a bar in the middle of my screen with a button you can press, similar to the Ultraxian fight in Dragon Soul. Basically, when that bar gets full or close to full, you should press that button, because if your hatred gets full, I believe you do like 100% less damage or something like that. So make sure it doesn't get to full. And ways it gets to rises faster is if you take damage from the boss or from these shadow spells or from this Gripping Hatred. And Gripping Hatred, what he does, he spawns, I believe, 3 of these every so often, and they will grip you towards, like, grip one will grip you to the other, and then it's just annoying, and they also make your hatred go up faster. So what you want to do is when those spawn, you have, like, I think 10 or 11 seconds to kill them before they start gripping, and you can actually kill them before they grip you, and it just makes this fight a lot easier if everyone helps out, including Melee. Melee is actually going to be taking damage, because if you stand in that void zone that they have, they will do damage, and your hatred will also rise pretty quickly. But if everyone's doing damage to all of them at the same time, Melee shouldn't have that big of a deal. I haven't found any trouble with it. But and even if you do, take a lot of hatred and damage, your healer can heal you, or you can just press the button and you'll be fine. Another thing he does is called Ring of Malice, and it's like a big, and this is me with my hatred full, it's not that big of a deal. A Ring of Malice is basically a purple circle of shadow bolts going around him, and I'm sure you've seen it multiple times in this video. And that thing you're just casting, you can interrupt that, so I highly recommend you do it so your tank takes less damage. The Ring of Malice, as I was saying, it's like a circle of shadow bolts that he's doing right now. You have to be either in the middle of that or outside of that to not take damage, and if you kite the boss, that Ring of Malice moves with him, so you can't kite him out of it. Other than that, I think that's it. Yep, there's a Gripping Hatred, there's a Ring of Malice, and there's the thing you can interrupt. And that's it. This fight is actually pretty simple. I know it sounds confusing or looks confusing the first time you do it or you hear about it, but overall it's a very simple fight. But this has been Shado-Pan Monastery heroic walkthrough. Hopefully you learned something and you enjoyed it. There'll be a lot more walkthroughs for all the heroics that come, so make sure you subscribe, check out the playlist, check out my live stream link down below, check out my Twitter, and check out my body because it's beautiful just like yours. I love you, have a great day, and keep on wowing it up. Love your faces. Goodbye.